Hi, welcome to episode 2 of the chat ride. So today we're taking a bit of a detour away from our topic of the month to discuss something that is breaking news. This has been breaking news actually since the weekend. Everybody knows that H&M came out with that ad where two kids were on the ad, black kid, white kid. The black kid had hoodie on that made a reference to a monkey, coolest monkey in the jungle or something like that. So it obviously sparked a lot of debate and a lot of anger and a lot of reaction from people. But here in South Africa, we went the extra mile like we always do, and we decided let's protest. Doi is like our thing here. It's what we do. So we went and we protest. Well, the EFF specifically, not the whole country. Let me not misrepresent our country. Nail polish went wrong. It's a problem. This is why it's important to get your nails done professionally because of crap like this. Anyway, so the EFF specifically, they went and protested at different malls where there are H&M stores. They didn't just protest, they literally went inside of the stores and destroyed the stores pretty much. So two things that I feel are worth talking about here, or that for me sparked debate in my head at least. Number one, a lot of people are going, are black people overreacting? Was H&M really was it that harsh? Was it really racist? That's topic one. And then topic two is the reaction of the EFF. Was that okay or not? Okay, so firstly, as a black person, you do feel guilty for complaining about things. Like, you feel guilty for complaining about the after effects of apartheid. They are serious mental and psychological after effects that we shall discuss on another day. But you feel guilty when you complain about that. You feel guilty when you complain about racism. You forever feel guilty about things. And the problem with it is that because we felt guilty for complaining and for saying, listen, the way you are treating me right now, or the things that you were saying to me right now, they're making me kind of uncomfortable. I'm really uncomfortable that I'm feeling a little bit slightly disrespected. Can you please stop? Right? Because we've held back from that for so long, people, companies, all of that have almost seen it as it's okay to do certain things or to make certain gestures. It's okay, because we've sort of felt guilty about vocalizing how much it actually does insult us, that we kind of have made it acceptable for certain things to be said in society, for in the advertising world. Dove came out, and now now H&M comes out with this ad. So my thing is, it's important for us to vocalize it and to say, yes, it is uncomfortable. Yes, making a reference to a kid as a monkey in the jungle, that is insulting, and that does have an element of racism. Can you just not? And the thing is, people do never play around with religion, even if whatever it is that they could be doing in the ad is maybe soft, and it's not even anything harsh or anything that could possibly insult anybody. They would never play around with religion, because they know that is part of, I suppose you can say, it's part of somebody's identity. So they don't want to insult that. But it's okay to play around with race, guys. You realize that, yes, I'm a spiritual being, right? And this body that I'm in is just borrowed to me until I die, right? And my spirit is more important than my body, right? But for me, as an individual, as a black child living in Africa, where my ancestors literally do not know religion, and religion came you know, with the white man in South Africa, I do not identify my identity to a religion. Like, for me, religion is not my identity. Spirituality is, yes, it's part of my identity, but religion is not for me. Like, it really isn't. But my race is closer to me than my religion. You know what I mean? So if you're insulting, if it's not okay to insult a person's religion, because, or to even almost like play around with it, maybe you're not sure if you're going to insult them or not, but then, you know, you'll play around with it, you know, try to play it safe. Nobody tries to play it safe even where religion is concerned, because just in case you might insult people because it's part of people's identity. Well, being black is part of my identity. So if people are playing around, or companies are playing around with that, with racial things, then that can also come out as an insult to somebody like me, because I take my race seriously, because my race is not just the color of my skin for me. It also goes with my practices and the things that I believe, and psychologically how I was raised, and all of that. It affects a lot more than just the way I look. So that's one thing. So the answer is yes, it was wrong, H&M. I don't really care what the intention was, but it was wrong. And for me, the weird thing about it is, after the whole Dove saga, another major company decides to play around with things that could be racially offensive to people. That for me is a little bit confusing. I don't understand that. And another thing that is huge that I don't get is that before the ad goes out, it goes through numerous amounts of reviews, right? How can none of these people that have reviewed it, how can none of them see something wrong with it? That's also a bit weird to me as well, you know? So even if the parents of the child are like, no, people are overreacting, yada, 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 blah, 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 that is fine for them. That's okay for them if they feel like it's not an insult to them. But to me it is, and to the vast majority it is. And therefore you have to question and say, okay, maybe this was really wrong, you know? So, okay, this was something that they did that did insult us, that did feel racial. How do we react? What should we do? The EFF was like, yeah, well, we're going to H&M to trash the store. And you know what it is? On Twitter and like on social media, people have been saying EFF was wrong and all of that. I hear it. But what I've realized is that we are a society of complainers rather than a solution-driven society. And I feel like I thought deeply about it. You know, I took it there. And I was like, maybe the reason why there aren't that many inventions in coming from our continent is that we are not taught, or we don't think in a way that is more solution driven. We think in the way of identifying the problem, full stop, done. And then what? You know? So if you go on social media, everybody's like, EFF is wrong, EFF is wrong, EFF is wrong. Okay, then what should they do? What should they have done that would have been more effective to paint the picture that, listen, this ad was racist and you need to not do this ever again. Send that message out into the world. This is insulting. Can we not ever do this again? So my thing is, and the thing is, I'm coming across as if I'm defending the EFF here. I'm not necessarily. I mean, we've seen in the past violence might have worked, and in fact you can argue that maybe not, because a lot of protests during the apartheid era were started off as peaceful, were organized to be peaceful, and got violent because of the police. And you can argue that maybe not, maybe there was a bit of violence as well. But the point is, in today's world, in the context of today, I don't know if violence is a solution, actually. There was xenophobic attacks that happened. People were saying that they're doing it because people are taking, foreign nationals are taking their jobs, they're taking their opportunities, they're taking their housing and all of that. I know this because I live in Alex, and in 2008 it was like major. It was scary. But anyway, and what did that solve? What did those attacks solve? Like, nothing. There was violence, but there was no it didn't help. You know what I mean? And there are a lot of situations where violence happened. People go and get violent because they want increases. They end up with the increase, but nothing close to what they asked for initially. And you're like, cost versus benefit. I don't think it's beneficial. So I don't personally feel like violence is the solution, but I also, as a person, don't think I have a right. Well, not necessarily not have a right, but I don't think it's constructive of me to say to the EFF what you did was wrong without telling them what then would have been the better solution to get the message out there. The only person that I only heard one political analyst on radio. There might have been more, but I heard a political analyst on radio give some kind of solution. Nothing really from a post perspective on social media. People are just saying, you're wrong, EFF, but nobody's coming up with better ideas of what could they have then done. So the political analyst spoke of how the EFF could have proposed a boycott against H&M. Look, ideally, in an ideal world, that would have been the best solution, and it would have worked, and it would have been amazing, because now you're affecting the company's profit line. I feel like this as well, the destruction affects the profit line as well, because now they have to incur expenses to fix the stuff, yada yada yada, so on and so forth. But obviously, if you boycott, then now that's a big thing, right? But gone are the days where we as a nation are united. Let's not lie to ourselves. Let's not fool ourselves. We are not united. We're really not. That's the reality of the situation. So in a country where we're not united, and in fact, to give a clear example, someone at work even said, oh, but what happens if they close H&M? Now where am I gonna get my favorite dresses? And this is a black woman. So my thing is, people will not boycott H&M even if you ask them to. Not enough of them would anyway. So we're not living in a country or a world that is united. People don't care about the next person. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. You know what I mean? Yeah, today you feel the emotion. You're like, I'm so insulted. How could they? Kausani okomolung wana special. You're like, but I'm saving. So you go in there and you buy. We are like that. We are not even, loyal to ourselves. We are just not a united front. That's the reality of the situation. So a boycott, I feel, in today's world would not happen. That's my thing. You know what I mean? So that solution, I don't feel would work. And because I can't think of a better solution, then I can't sit here and say, EFF, you are wrong. You should have never ever done that. Because my thing is, then what should have happened? Because with the Dove situation, the only thing that happened is we complained on social media, and that's it. A couple of months later, another big company, racially insults black people through an ad again. So clearly this complaining on social media thing, it's not working. Something else has got to happen to get the word out there, to say to these major companies, listen to us, this is insulting. So I'm not saying EFF is right, but I'm just saying that I can't give a constructive opinion on it because I don't have any other solutions. But what I do feel is that we do need to sit down and come up with better solutions to communicate to the world that, can you please just stop insulting us, please? That's what needs to happen, I guess. That's what we need to be doing on social media, talking about what should we do, rather than identifying the problem, saying you're wrong, and then fighting and bullying each other on social media. Please, can we just be a little bit more constructive. That's my views on the H&M saga. Well, whatever your views are, I'm sure you've voiced them all over the show, but you can continue to voice them in the comment section below. And please subscribe. Thank you for joining me here on the chat right with City Black.